allow me to introduce or briefly talk about the state of the civil society organization sector in the country. It's fairly a new sector, and the Civil Society Act came into being in 2008, and the registration process began in 2010. So as of today, we have about 47 registered CSOs. So we are registered under the CSOA, which is manned by people from the Ministry of Home. And for Taryana, this foundation was established by the Queen Mother, Her Majesty, Wangchuck, in 2003. And the Queen Mother, back then when she was the Queen, she traveled to all parts of the country. Bhutan is a mountainous country, so you can imagine she traveled to all nooks and corners of the country in her capacity as the patron for environment and agriculture. And during her travels, she has noticed that there are so many small communities in far-flung areas which do not really benefit from the mainstream developments of the government, and therefore she felt the need to have an organization like Taryana to bridge the gap between the people, beneficiaries, and the services of the government. So that is how the foundation came into being. And we have seen that the sectoral approach of the government does not work all the time, especially when the communities are scattered in very far-flung areas. Some of the sites that we work are 3 days. Earlier it used to be about 3 days, 2 days away from the nearest road, which means we have to trek 2 to 3 days just to reach them. So that's how far we work. And because we have seen the challenges of the sectoral-based approach, we have come up with the new model. We call it Integrated Community Development Model, whereby we try to include everything. While we are there in the community, why not do everything, starting from the basic needs of housing improvement, health and education, sanitation, agriculture, skills development, livelihood activities, also includes microfinance program, and basically empowering the communities. So Taryana Foundation, as I said, was established in 2003. This is our vision, mission. Basically, we focus on poverty reduction, and there is no one cause to poverty, we know that. And everything, I may not talk about rivers, but everything that I talk is related to poverty, and poverty is multifaceted. So we have two programs, the Social Development Program and Economic. So under the Social Development Program, we have many different programs, of which one is promotion of green technologies. And this is something new for us, because earlier, back in 2003 when we started, we didn't have this program. So with climate change, the needs of the communities are changing, and therefore we evolve along with the needs of the communities. This is the map of our country, and Taryana actually works in all the regions, starting from Khesar up in the north to the south in Samtsi, to the east in Pemagasal, and also in the central regions. So as of today, we work in about 305 villages. And some of our communities, they don't have proper houses to begin with. So from our more than decades experience, we have come to a conclusion that if we don't provide communities and families with the basic needs first, everything else is secondary for them, and they may not, we may not be able to lift them from the poverty state. So now one of our main focus is to help them build their houses. Of course, we don't go there and build the houses, we make them build their own houses, we just facilitate. So we have built over 1,000 houses in 16 of the 20 districts we have. And then agriculture is another area. The government is doing a lot in this area, but in the small communities in very far-flung areas, as I said, the services may not reach appropriately, so that's where we need to make interventions. So these are my colleagues being trained in Indore in India in natural farming. And we provide tools, equipment, seeds, labor-saving devices. We also invest in early childhood care and development programs. We all know how important it is, because this is an area where we can really identify if there's any nutrition or if there's any stunting at this age. So these are some of the initiatives the communities would take themselves. And on the energy and environment, so these are some of the green technologies that we've been promoting. In rural areas, some of the villages have acute shortage of water. So in those communities, we cannot go and talk about sanitation or train them on personal hygiene or so. So there we had to find alternatives. EcoSan toilet, I'm sure most of us would know, it's ecological toilet, dry toilet, and eco stoves, fuel efficient stoves. Bhutan is one of the highest fuel consumption in terms of, and then solar dryer, basically to preserve these communities that are not connected to roads. They cannot sell their fresh produce in the market, so they will preserve, they will dry the products and sell. And biogas is another technology that we are promoting. Then climate resilient water harvesting techniques. I'll talk more about that later since it's water. Then we also did solar electrification for those communities that are not electrified. Then gravity goods ropeway is another thing that we piloted for a community that is not connected with a road. So there, since the road was not going to be there for quite some time, we helped them build this gravity goods ropeway. So now the community is really benefiting because they can take their fresh produce. This community actually grows a lot of oranges and cardamom. Earlier it used to take them about 4 to 5 hours on the horseback or on their own backs, but now it takes just 2 minutes to take these to the roadhead. And again, microhydro, I'll talk about it later. Biosand filtration, especially for the schools, and compressed earth block is another green technology that we are promoting. So these are the dry toilets, fuel, biogas, solar electrification. We did this in Rajasthan in Barefoot College, trained semi-literate women for 6 months, and when they came back, they became the solar engineers in their community. Because in our communities, in those days, if something breaks down, then they have to walk for at least half day or one whole day to the nearest town to fix it. So to solve that, we had the women placed there as solar engineers. This is the gravity goods ropeway that I was mentioning. So now this ropeway takes products from the community right up there to this roadhead just in 2 minutes. And the microhydro that I was mentioning, it's in a community in the east. They are not on the national grid, so they've never been electrified. So they have the stream. So we made use of this stream to come up with a microhydro of 17 kilowatts. Earlier it was planned at 15 kilowatts, but that will only light up their homes, but not they cannot use any home appliances. So with support, technical support from Nepal, we are working with an NGO there. We also got the community members trained. We got most of the equipments, parts from Nepal, and now they have lights. This is yet to be inaugurated. This was very recent. So what we've noticed is this was just a normal stream for them before they had this brought electricity to their community. But now it means more than that. So we've seen that they're taking care of this stream even better than earlier. So I think at times they need to benefit community people. We just cannot sit back and expect them to take care of the local resources. They also need to benefit directly for them to take more ownership of the natural resources that are available around them. And this is the stove that we are promoting. We're also working with the only College of Science and Technology in the country. So every year we give them a competition to design simple technologies that can be replicated and useful in our communities. So this is the 5th year that we've done. This year we did with solar fencing. Human-wildlife conflict is a huge issue in the rural communities of Bhutan. People work hard, and at the end of their, before their harvest time, all their produce will be eaten by the wild animals. So this year the students in this college have come up with the low-cost solar fencing. So we are going to promote this in our communities as well. This is the solar dryer. And again, we've noticed that with climate change and also with developmental activities that come up in the villages, rivers, water sources of the communities have been drying up. Sometimes it's climate change, sometimes it's the new roads and electricity that's coming up that disrupts the water sources. And the solution to that was to clear up the water sources, so that communities would come together and clear the water sources. And then we made use of the senior citizens of that particular community to identify plants, new plants, they call it alien invasive plants, which have come up, which was not there during their time. Now, so many alien plants have come up, and these plants take away most of the waters. So these plants need to be removed, and we replanted indigenous plants based on the local senior citizens' knowledge. And also, bamboo, as we know, is one of the most common plants which can rise the water table. So we're doing a lot of plantation of bamboo and other indigenous plants around the water source. So I'm happy to share that there was a community in the east that suffered from water scarcity for almost 15-20 years, and with our initiatives, they now have access to proper drinking and irrigation water. And earlier they used to take at least 1 hour or 2 hours just to fetch water. And that again, the village is on the top of a hill and the water source is right down. So they spend a lot of time just fetching water on the horseback or even on them. So the school students have to do that equally. So in those cases, we cannot really talk about sanitation even for the schools. So here, they're clearing the water source and they're doing plantation of indigenous plants. And we also help build these kind of centers in the communities so that everybody can come together and work during their free times. And this is also a place where the senior citizens would share their traditional knowledge with the younger generation. This is Daphne. This is soap and candle production. This is nettle weaving. These are some, if they don't have any skills, then we would help introduce some skills that they can learn and then start generating income. These are stinging nettle. I believe it's very popular in Nepal, and it is becoming popular in Bhutan. It used to be a traditional skill. Back then, when we didn't have trade with India, people were wearing, a dress made from nettle, but it's very tedious. The process is very tedious, and once we have the markets opened, nobody actually did this. So now this has a huge market, so we are reviving this traditional skill in the community, and they benefit a lot. They earn a lot from this nettle weaving. Okay. So we also help, these are some of the activities basically to generate income. And as CSOs, I feel that our main role would be to empower communities so that they are able to take informed decisions, because what we have noticed is sometimes there are many programs that would come to the communities, but for them, because it's coming for free, they would accept everything that's coming to them and they won't be able to deliver. So basically, I'd like to stop here in the interest of time. If we have time, I would be happy to share more about the work that we're doing in Bhutan. Thank you.